Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining me here today. If you found yourself here, there may be a message for your healing journey, soul's evolution, transformation, or simply information. Today, family and friends, we're going live, and hopefully this will work, but I will test it out and see what happens. It'll be a makeshift version of maybe what we can create in the future. So today I would like to talk about vulnerability. And as you know, Brené Brown is famous for her talks about vulnerability. And actually, it's a sign of strength. Vulnerability in itself, sometimes we have to lean into God and say, please, give me strength. And within that strength, we find the truth within ourselves. And then also, to then own self be true, we are not deceiving ourselves. We begin to cherish the connection and the relationship between ourselves and our divine guidance, meaning our dream team, and then maybe in relationships. Congruity. Isn't that something we feel we should always have? And we deserve it for sure. And the truth in other people's behavior, actions, and words should be evident, which also helps us with direction in life. So sometimes, literally, when you ask for directions and not Siri or Jared, we talk about that a lot, but we'll get over that. Or Alexa, who do you ask for direction from? Other people's lives or other people's path to get to where you want to go? Or maybe by default, there's the only person there that you ask for directions from. Well, the course of life is like a pearl. The size of it and the shape, dimension, color, texture, the grit of it, that's our grace, the pearl. And for us being coherent, meaning what's our ability to harmonize the frequency of our heart, sometimes it's also the ability to create the reality we desire, the things we desire, maybe living with optimism. And maybe it's just the way we experience things, how we communicate supports our ability to exchange the information for those directions. Well, we have purpose in life, everybody does. And sometimes we divert from the original plan or our goals, but we line up for certain things, meaning the journey, the course of free will, but not always choices, but just deviation and direction on the navigational path that sometimes people like to, maybe we'll call it devour. But then there's direction of God, the redirection, and sometimes setting new goals, giving us the attention and the action to, of course, create your life rather than letting others control it. So as we continue to take inventory, gaining new skills and new experiences on this path or canal of life, we work hard to maintain and obtain different skill sets and tools and maybe increase our self-esteem, because in the midst of that, we need to trust our inner compass that is always led within or from within. So when a problem emerges, we can identify it quicker, find simple formulas of taking care of ourselves, and maybe we can recreate the monster cookies without all the ingredients. Now, they won't taste as great as grandmother's, right? But on the other hand, it's pretty good because you did it yourself and you can always perfect your craft. So we continue to stock our pantry with all the essentials we need just in case we need to make monster cookies again. We don't have to deep sea dive, no. We have a clear vision. We are staying in alignment with our growth, and we're communicating with Source, our guidance, and we have compassion with ourselves for our growth without judgment, and we have a balance, and that etheric cord between heaven and earth. It flows from our heart out into the world. That's divine connection to Source, God, your dream team, angels, realms, or whoever you decide, or who's assigned to you. And that ripple effect is something bigger than we once knew. Or maybe you always knew it, just lost your way. And that's okay. As you sit quietly today, just know that sometimes when we judge ourselves too harshly, they're not mistakes, family and friends, but it's a critical point of our inventory search of our pantry, right? And sometimes we look at codependency and the people in our lives and what we create, and then we have sometimes people that are obsessive and want to control things, and maybe they're out of control. So then we lean into our internal knowing and look fearlessly with love, with positive eyes and direction towards our goals. And we sometimes feel vulnerable. But in that moment, you can comprehend, and yes, maybe you shed a few tears, but maybe you trust, and maybe you try and meditate and find something hopeful and meaningful, and in that time frame, you find your guidance. So we can always ask that God and your dream team help you let go of what you are immersed in any negativity. You can change any energy or any environment that you wish to remove yourself from, and you can affirm it stinks, right? Absolutely toxic. But strive for the quality of knowing that you can create anything. You can even cut yourself out of a paper bag. I know, that's a hairdresser joke. No. But sometimes you can. And we need to stop making excuses for other people. Stop making excuses for ourselves, why we stay in codependent relationships, why we live with too much compassion for others that hurt us, that we need to forgive ourselves and accept ourselves and love ourselves and obtain our goals in life. Because the reality is, it just holds us back when we don't hold ourselves accountable for our own actions and or behaviors. We can certainly hold ourselves accountable, and God will make sure, because if we keep doing the same thing over and over and over, that's sort of the epitome of insanity, is it not? But He always has compassion for us and understanding, and a few laughters along the way when we learn our lessons or we're too bucky and we don't want to. But sometimes we literally are powerless. And then we don't know what to do. And then guess who rolls up? No, not gangster style, but sometimes it is funny when they do. They laugh because we finally are laughing in our tears. But they're willing to be effective with us and help us navigate the way. That's the funny stuff. Jesus take the wheel, and you love that story. Now, it means something when you actually understand what that means, and you've had to turn it over. You have tried to get yourself out of the mud, and oh, it's still raining, and you dig yourself deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. You keep going back to the same toxicity, and the journey is getting nowhere. You dug yourself in a hole. The neighbor has to put on the tractor wheels and the chains to pull you out of the ditch. But you don't want to. You keep saying, I got this. But we want to take responsibility. So in the morning, 12 hours later, you're still sitting there, still fighting. The car, the engine's on fire, and you're still sitting in the car because you want to figure it out. That's all right. As long as you're not on fire yourself, I guess you're not asking for help. You're not stuck in the car because we can see that the one door is open. So clearly you could fall out of it if you wanted to. But the engine's destroyed. The wheels are certainly burnt off. And there's no way in hell you're getting out of that ditch. But you're still sitting there trying, right? That shows dedication for sure. And you get the award of the day. Well, for the 24, 48 hours you've been sitting there. See, avoiding things, that's what happens. But on the other hand, the consequences are now you realize you've got to somehow get the vehicle back home. And it's your responsibility. And now the engine's burnt out. You have no wheels to get it back there. And then maybe the same farmer drives by and he's like, how you doing today? I brought you a sandwich. Sometimes you get so mad you don't want to even enjoy the sandwich and the water. And sometimes it'll be like, are you ready? Maybe they'll dump the gallon of water on you or on the vehicle till it stops smoking. And then maybe you're ready. But maybe not. Maybe you decide to leave the car there and not tell anybody and you say, I don't want it. I'm walking home. And it's an 8-mile hike. So you do. By the time you get home, you're not sure what to do. And then maybe you get in trouble and maybe you don't. But the beautiful thing is, you know where your car is, probably the same place your heart is, and all the swear words all the way home. But then sometimes you still don't surrender to the help. So what are we being called to create? A different car, a different life, a different way home, the pathway to hurt because it hurts too much? Or is it really how you ended up in the ditch in the first place? You had no support to deal with the situation? Well, I think we already established that the farmer guy not only came once, twice, or 4 times, he probably was there up all night making sure you were safe because it was the night. And he brought you resources to ease your pain, some water and a sandwich. He saw that you were in grief, sadness, and that's expected based on what he already heard on his CB, right? Or walkie-talkie or whatever they use nowadays. He already heard what happened. And he wasn't judging. He wasn't dropping his protection around you. No. He wasn't in denial. No. Just there to guide your future choices. You see, maybe it wasn't the tractor or the farmer at all. Maybe that was God in disguise, an angel watching over you. And your choices, seeing and feeling your pain while you're in the ditch, while the car was on fire, while you were sleeping and could have caught on fire. Open that door, the jaws of life, maybe did pour the water on you and your engine, and you sat there, not wanting help, not wanting to deal with the pain. No. But now on your walk home, and you're tired, and you wanted to stay too busy in your head, maybe you went to work and somebody picked you up and you went to work all day, but you had to drive by the car, and you avoided the pain and postponed calling the tow truck, and you waited, and you waited, and you waited. And then you waited. Nobody knew where the car was because it really wasn't seen from the road. No. But it takes courage to go down, walking back to your car when you called the tow truck finally. And God and his dream team, divine team showed up and you raised your hand. You were in the ditch and he saw your hand raised. He saw your pain outside because you were raising your hand. He saw the grief that hurt. He saw the sadness. And you weren't denying it anymore. You see, life sometimes puts on new jackets and the pockets are actually pushed in versus pulled out, like your heart. And sometimes even the tow truck guy is hurting for you because he heard the story of what happened. And nobody has to say anything, just felt your pain, and they're all going with the flow. And they were all willing to help as they felt your pain. And there were no more compulsive behaviors of what the thought process was around avoiding help, needing to be healed. No. The perspective might have been, we don't always know what we need to know. We don't always understand our feelings. We don't always lay down any particular path or walk down any stream or the 10 miles home and the 10 miles back. But then there's the unexpected gifts of kindness and the jewels of life, and we have conceived something new. The invite to work with our team. The perspective and the retrospect in that walk home and the walk back. It becomes clear. For what we ran from, and sometimes what we were told, is all about trying to heal versus running away from it. So today we're letting go of the things that happened that we didn't know how to process. We're not packing the pains in our pockets. No, we've emptied those out. And what we have in there is healing. And what we have in there is love. We have unpacked the pain with the dirt that fell off our wheels, yes, along with the tires that we burnt off. The engine is burnt off. The tank has no gas in it. But in simple truth, and the unfolding is the work of God. Self-approval and worrying about what people would have thought that you ruined your own car that you just got the week before. You worked your whole life for it. But something hurt your heart. That need for approval, to be liked, or maybe something worse. Conflict in relationships and or with people that once hurt you. You realize detaching from the pain was easier to ruin something that you worked so hard for. But you see, these stressful cycles only show you that once you pulled that car home and you turned it over, that problem found a solution. You see, then you have a new neighbor that moved in that's an auto body mechanic, and you went to town and got a job where they sell tires. And then you had some friends come over. You met new friends at your new job. And they were generous to help you and give you a loan for everything you need to repair that car. And then you work towards a goal. And that communication and those new friends, being responsible and caring for ourselves and our lives to regain balance of your dream vehicle and those good relationships to which you have today. are more meaningful, and they were implemented and aligned for you because you healed your heart through something you loved. And now maybe you have your own business and you are in recovery, healing your heart, and your pockets are full because you aligned. You've replenished and you have a lot of self-care and you have plenty because your well is full. And matter of fact, you probably did build some new things, preparing for receiving joy in your heart. And you say thank you to God and you pray and say thank you. I believe now that that challenge was something spectacular. I wasn't willing to give up, but it wasn't the vehicle you were giving up, just destroying something that hurt. But you live with light, joy, and peace in your heart, and you soul search every day. Why? Because when people bring you their cars, maybe they did the same or similar as you did in the same ditch, you can smile and laugh and tell them your story. And you have a picture of that vehicle. And you can tell anybody now, with your guidance, you release the old and energetic tune-ups, right? And vehicle tune-ups, because every day is a new beginning. And you can also tell everybody that getting through the hard times is simply growth. It's not loss. It's actually our own way of getting where we need to go. And God can determine the timing when we're ready. So hard times and stressful times are not just pain, it's growth. And in moving forward in all situations of suffering, it's not about the bitterness and refusing to grow or change. It motivates us to mold and bring out our best so that we can move forward. So the choice is always ours. As we let go, we feel. And as we feel, we have more of a spiritual approach to gratitude towards any event that may have happened to us or somebody else. And the incident of the old might be the best thing that happened to you. So release yourself, trust that life is worth living, and we don't require a lot of sweat equity, but if it's your job and your passion, that's how you got there. We created it, and now we're reaping the benefits. So we can ask God to let go of any hard times because I desire to heal. No matter where we've been, our desire is to heal and make ourselves better. So today, embrace the transformation and the things that look different because that might be better. Take care of you because you matter. And so it is. Namaste.